All right, Islam, everybody. We're going to go ahead and start the meeting. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And if you can, everybody please rise and face the east. And we're going to do the Moorish American prayer. Islam, so if you can, rise, face the east, your feet at a 45-degree angle. Put 2 fingers up on the right, 5 fingers up on the left, and Sister Douglas Sal is going to lead us in a prayer.
Islam, Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, true Ali. Amen.
All right, amen. Okay. So I want to announce that the meeting is now open. First and foremost, we always rise to give the highest praise to the Most High, Father of the universe, Allah. We always give honors to our divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for bringing us our divine creed and nationality so that we may learn to love instead of hate. We give honors to the forerunner to the prophet, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, for preparing the way for Noble Drew Ali. We give honors to all the Adep sheiks and all the faithful Moors that make up the grand body of the Moorish divine and national movement. We give honors to the current Supreme Grand Sheik, Brother K. Dandridgel. We give honors to the grand body of the Grand Council of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And also we always give honors to the first appointed Supreme Grand Sheik by the Prophet, and that's Brother E. Millie Ill. Now we're going to go ahead and read the Divine Constitution and bylaws.
Islam, Salvation, Allah, Unity, the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Divine Constitution and bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in the flesh, and on Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or overthrow the laws of the Constitution of this said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and a partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nation of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father God Allah. Noble Drew Ali, founder. Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my God, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. The Moorish Science Temple of America, home office of Noble Drew Ali. Home office, Chicago, Illinois, USA. Islam.
Islam. All right. So I wanted to go into something real quick, just right there in Acts 6, where it says the Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Okay. So, all right, it's saying that the Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited, remember this, the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Okay, now what does that entail? What does that mean? Right? Okay, check this out. We're going to go into the Koran. Hang on a second. Pull this up for you. I'm trying to pull this up on the screen. You can go to chapter 47 in the Quran, okay? And let me get it up here. Okay, so remember, it said that the Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa, okay? And then here in chapter 47, Egypt, the capital empire of the Dominion of Africa, right? So this is explaining the Dominion of Africa and how far it extends. Okay, the inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family were second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of M.H.K, the first true and divine name of Africa. The dividing of the land between the father and the son. The dominion of Cush, northeast, southeast Africa, northwest, southwest Africa was his father's dominion. Okay. And then we're going to go down to verse 7, where it says, their dominion, talking about the Moabites, their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa across the great Atlantis, even into the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands before the great earthquake, which caused the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so this is just letting you know that the Moors, you know, which we would be Moorish Americans because we're here in the Americas. Okay, we've been here since before the continent split apart. And when it's saying that the Moors are in Act 6, the Moorish Americans are descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabited northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa, all right, it's letting you know in chapter 47 that those dominions extended over here. So even over here would have been considered Western Africa, or Western Africa, southwestern shores of Africa. Okay, and then you get another clue also in the 101s, the questionnaire. All right, which we hit on this before, but you get another clue there when it's asking, when it's describing the word Negro, and it's talking about the Negro River, all right, in West Africa. And we talked about this before and showed some pictures of the Negro River. I'm gonna pull this up for you real quick. All right. Hang on. All right, so when you look at the Rio Negro and see where it's actually at, it's in South America, clear and present. Like there's no denial about it. Okay. And so it's just making it clear so that there's no confusion amongst us what these words mean. But if you look at the questionnaire, and we're going to go to number 86, and it's just saying Negro, a name given to a river in West Africa by Moors because it contains black water, right? So it's not, definitely not referring to people, but it's saying this was a name given to a river in West Africa by Moors because it contains black water. And then we've already established that the Negro River was in South America or South West of Mexico, okay? The Rio Negro. This is the Negro River. Okay, without a doubt, there's no question about this. This is the only Rio Negro. It's the only Rio Negro in the world, the only Negro River in the world. All right, there's no other one. There's no Negro River in present day West Africa. What they call South America, that would have been considered West Africa. And this is where the Rio Negro mixes with the Amazon. And you see the waters don't mix. It's still black to this day, right? It's not Photoshop. It's amazing. So the Rio Negro, and it is obvious why they call it the Rio Negro. This is where it mixes. It's a tributary of the Amazon River, largest river in the world, right? And so the Rio Negro, it's a long river, and the waters are black still to this day. So he's talking about us, right? There's no confusion. And you see the Brazil flag, it's right there. It runs through Brazil. Rio Negro over here, okay? So did anybody have anything to say about that? We good on that understanding? Okay, so in Acts 6, the Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabited the northwestern, that's present day Africa, on up into Spain, and southwestern shores of Africa, which would extend over here, okay? All right, so today we're gonna do chapter 12 in the Quran, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started now, unless anybody has any questions about that. All right. Okay, chapter 12, Jesus teaches the common people at a spring, tells them how to obtain eternal happiness. And this is a good lesson, okay? In silent meditation, Jesus sat beside a flowing spring. It was a holy day, and many people of the servant caste were near the place. And Jesus saw the hard-drawn lines of toil on every brow, in every hand, and there was no look of joy in any face. Not one of all the group could think of anything but toil. And Jesus spoke to one and said, "Why are you all so sad? Have you no happiness in life?" The man replied, "We scarcely know the meaning of that word. We toil to live and hope for nothing else but toil. And bless the day when we can cease our toil and lay down and rest in Buddha's city of the dead." So this is letting you know that even then, like in ancient India or ancient Dravidia, like in that land, in that region in India, that even then you had the poor people, the servant class, the working class being taught, to look for some heaven after you die, to look, towards some type of paradise after you die, and that's always something that, the corrupt, and the richer classes could use to hold people down, to keep them content, with their lives, how it is. Like, oh yeah, you get this after you die. But we know heaven is a state of mind. So, even from their perspective, they're saying, oh, when we die, we'll go to Buddha city of the dead. And Jesus' heart was stirred with pity and with love for these poor toilers. And he said, "Toil should not make a person sad. Men should be happiest when they toil. When hope and love are back of toil, then all of life is filled with joy and peace, and this is heaven. Do you not know that such a heaven is for you?" The man replied, "Of heaven we have heard, but then it is so far away, and we must live so many lives before we can reach that place. This is a game that they've been sold." And Jesus said, "My brother man, your thoughts are wrong. Your heaven is not far away, and it is not a place of metes and bounds. It is not a country to be reached. It is a state of mind. And this is the key. This is the key to it all. If you study the Hermetic lessons, not going to go too far into this, but just if you want to look up any, do any outside research, look up the Kabbalion. You can get the book probably on Amazon for less than $10. And there's 7 universal principles. And that's that, excuse me, that's the 7 again, right? You got the circle 7, this is the book of the 7 seals. It's spoken of in Revelations. So you got this circle, there's 7 in there again. So in the Hermetic lessons, you have 7 universal principles that are universal. They're in all dimensions. They're in all aspects of reality. 7 key principles that are universal. And the first one is that all is mine. Okay. And so this is, Jesus is cluing them in on this. Heaven is a state of mind. Okay. Allah never made a heaven for man. He never made a hell. We are creators and we make our own. Okay, so what we're doing right now, what we're teaching, what we're practicing is true Islam. No one can come from a foreign country or from anywhere else and try to tell us that we're doing this wrong, we're doing that wrong, because we have the key. This is the key. Many people, that are, and I'm not knocking anyone who's practicing, different, I guess you could say denominations, Sunni Islam or anything like that. I'm not knocking that, but the majority don't have that key, and it's like that with most religions. They don't know this, right? Even though it's there in the Quran, which we can point out. We can point out to people, that the same thing that is in our Holy Quran, it's in the Quran of Mecca, all right? So it tells you that in there, even though most people don't know this. So no one can come and tell us that we're practicing Islam wrong or that we're taking it back to the source. Allah never made a heaven for man. He never made a hell. We are creators and we make our own. Okay? We're creators. We make our own. That's the key. All right? Now cease to seek for heaven in the sky. Just open up the windows of the hearts, and like a flood of light, a heaven will come and bring a boundless joy. Then toil will be no cruel task. All right. And we know again, from this perspective, since this is coming from an ancient Eastern perspective, an ancient Egyptian perspective. Okay. This is coming with the wisdom of the ancients, that when they speak of the heart, where's the heart located? Somebody tell me, where's the heart? Is in the mind. Somebody else, where's the heart? Is it in the chest? Where's the heart? Somebody, please, somebody. It's in the mind. Exactly. Islam. All right. Islam right there. Third eye. So that when it's speaking of the heart, it's speaking of the mind. Okay. And the mind may not even necessarily be in the head, because the mind isn't even limited to the body. Islam. All right, think on that. So when he's saying now cease to seek for heaven in the sky, just open up the windows of the hearts. So you're opening up the windows of the mind. You're opening up your mind, okay? Because heaven is a state of mind, all right? And we're creators. So the people were amazed and gathered close to hear this strange young master speak, all right? Because he's still in his early years, right? Imploring him to tell them more about the Father God Allah, about that heaven that men can make on earth, about the boundless joy. And Jesus spoke a parable. And this is a good one. This is a good lesson to always keep in mind. He said, a certain man possessed a field. The soil was hard and poor. By constant toil, he scarcely could provide enough food to keep his family from want. One day, a miner who could see beneath the soil in passing on his way saw this poor man and his unfruitful field. He called the weary toiler and he said, my brother, know you not that just below the surface of your barren field, rich treasures lie concealed? You plow and sow and reap in a scanty way. And day by day, you tread upon a mine of gold and precious stones. Okay. And in the same way that many of us go through life, if you don't have the things that you desire, that you want, it's not because necessarily because somebody's plotting or planning against us. We're, as Moors, we don't get into the victim mindset at all. We're not, one of the things when you read everything, reading the Koran, reading the divine constitution and bylaws, reading the 101s, why are we suffering? Is it because the Europeans are holding us down? Why are we suffering? We're suffering by our own actions, right? Because we cling to the titles, that delude to slavery, because we cling to the mentality that comes along with that. So we don't even put we don't even put, our conditions on anyone else but ourselves. How could we? When you go back up here, we know that heaven is a state of mind. We know that we are creators. All right. Not only that, Allah never made a heaven for a man, never made a hell, but we are creators and we make our own. So if we make our own heaven and we make our own hell, right, we can't put anything on Europeans, on the Illuminati, on any of that, because nothing can hold us down. And that's going back to the Quran, same surah, keep reading over and over again, because we all need to know this. And that's chapter 2, verse 30, right? Surah 2, ayat 30. Behold, the Lord said to the angels, I will create a vice regent on earth. Who's this vice regent that he's creating on earth, right? And the vice regent is the person exercising the delegated power on behalf of a sovereign, of a ruler, right? The person regarded as an earthly representative of God. Who is that? In the Quran, it's talking about us. It's talking about man, right? So if we are the earthly representative, of God, of Allah, how can anything come against us? Nothing can come against us, right? And so we create our own heaven or hell. And that may be hard for some people to take in, especially if you're online, you're seeing all the conspiracies, all these things. It could go on and on forever, and nobody's saying that stuff isn't real and that it's not work that needs to be done to overcome these things. But just saying, nothing can truly hold us down. It's always within. It's always an inside job, meaning you always have to go within your own mind, your own actions to fix it. Okay, and so back to here. All right, where I was at. 17, he's saying you plow and sow and reap in a scanty way, and day by day you tread upon a mine of gold and precious stones. So it's not even that the riches aren't there. You're trying to, he's trying to get, crops and things out of it, and it's not working. And he doesn't even know how to reach it, but it's there. So the wealth lies not upon the surface of the ground. It's about how you're approaching it. So we always have to change our approach. If you're having money issues, any kind of issues like that, it's always how we're going about it, how we're thinking, how we're approaching our reality, right? Because we're creators. So if you change your mindset, then you can get the glory or whatever it is that you desire. Islam, the brother just joined. So okay, to verse 18. All right, we're in chapter 12. You can just look at it on the screen if you don't have a Quran. So verse 18, this wealth lies not upon the surface of the ground, but if you dig away the rocky soil and delve deep into the earth, you need no longer till the soil for naught. Islam, did you have a question? Okay, so the man believed, the miner surely knows, and I will find the treasures hidden in my field. And then he dug away the rocky soil, and deep down in the earth he found a mine of gold. And Jesus said, the sons of men are toiling hard on desert plains and burning sands and rocky soils, are doing what their fathers did, not dreaming they can do aught else. So it all starts in the mind, Once he let him know, once he let the farmer know that there's riches beneath the soil, that made him dream of more and approach it differently. And since heaven is a state of mind and hell is a state of mind, all you have to do is flip and believe that it's possible and start to change your approach to it. So the sons of men are toiling hard on desert plains and burning sands and rocky soils, are doing what their fathers did, not dreaming they can do aught else. And so this is one of the reasons why, you know, when you read the prophet's literature about, the, you know, one of the things with us reconnecting to our Moorish heritage and understanding that the Moors weren't even limited to North Africa or Spain, that the empire, you know, pretty much comprised the majority of the world, okay? And that it's that ancient that it's been here since before the continent split apart. And then when you look at, you know, the structures, the pyramids and all of these things, and you realize that your ancestors did this, that changes your whole mentality about who you are, what you can accomplish. And now you have a family and you're raising your children with this. So now they're not looking up to some rapper, to somebody who's pretending that they sell drugs or something like this and thinking, oh, this is what I want to do, or this is the best I could do. You know they don't have to be an athlete or sell drugs or something like this to be successful. Now they know they can be a scientist. You know, they know that they can do anything because our ancestors created everything. We created civilization. We speak in English. We know this isn't a slave language. Why? Because we created all the languages, right? And so once you change your mindset and you see that you're capable of doing more, and now you're raped, because the nation starts with the family. Everything in here, from the Constitution, the questionnaire, the Koran, everything keys in on family. Man, woman, and child. Because that's where the nation starts and that's where it ends. All right. So if we take this to the entire family, we got a hand raised. But let me finish this. The children getting it, we already changed things, and we can do it in one generation. All right. Just by changing their mentality of themselves, our mentality of ourselves, that changes who we think we are, which changes what we think we can accomplish. And by changing that, it changed everything, because he's letting you know the keys are right here. Heaven and hell is a state of mind. So if we're in hell, we're creating our own hell. And if we don't do this, we're prolonging our own hell. Right? And go ahead, sister.
Islam. I was just going to add that that's why it's important for us to be Moorish American Muslims and to study this material so that we can learn, you know, the higher selves and the truths that our ancestors and the Prophet Noble Drew Ali left here for us. Because without this information, we'll still be in that slave mentality, toiling like the people in this chapter. They're toiling, they had nothing to look forward to, you know, they're just doing what they got to do to survive, basically. And they had, you know, the only thing they had to look forward to was death, and that was their reward, you know, to get to heaven. And Brother Jesus just explained that no matter what you are doing here on this earth, you are to always plant seeds inside of your head of greatness and a better tomorrow and plans for the future, because that's where your treasure lies, in your happiness right now at the moment. Without that happiness today, right now, in the second, in the moment that you're living in, you're going to be miserable and you're going to be creating a hell for yourself. Islam?
And to add one more thing to that too, like she was saying, if we're trying to achieve, but we're doing it from the mindset that the majority of us have, that we're the descendants of slaves, okay, we're approaching it from a falsehood, because that's not even the whole picture of reality. That's not really what happened. We're more than that. But if we're approaching it from that mindset and from the whole stigma and everything that comes with being Black, being African American, you know, there's only so high we could go, right? Because first off, that's a creation. It's not even real. Second off, you know, I mean, first, well, just to hit on that too, we're still going under a label and Islam.
Game and
Go ahead, brother. Islam. Okay, so Yeah, what I was saying though, if we're trying to achieve these things, like what for the most part, what we doing as a collective, but we still doing it from the, the labels that have been placed on us. There's only so far you could go, because at the end of the day, that label, that box that we've been put in was created by people who did not have our best interests at heart, and it's been legally, or socially, created as something that is less than, that is always, disconnected, from the great things that our ancestors have done, and so there's always a limit on what you can achieve. You know what I'm saying? Because people don't even know what they came from, so they don't really know, what they're capable of. And somebody else can always control your narrative. They completely can fabricate, a history about us. And, there's really nothing you could do about it, because you're not defining yourselves. So you always have to define yourself and control, how you think and how you approach things. And this is why, this is key. We have to understand this. The power of the mind, if we don't get this down, it doesn't matter how hard we work, collectively, we won't be that successful, because all is mine. All right. If we don't get the power of the mind down, it doesn't matter how much we know about the law and all this nationality, all this stuff, because all is mine. Right. You have to master these keys. This is the most important. That's why it's in the beginning of the Quran. The most important thing to master is self. All right. And that's how come, I'm doing these lessons for myself as well as for everyone else, because this is a constant thing. As long as you're here in this realm, to keep working on yourself, right? And to always use the tools of the workshop of the mind to, correct and fix your own behavior and your thought process. Okay. And going back to where I left off, just on verse 22, behold, a master comes and tells them of a hidden wealth, that underneath the rocky soil of carnal things are treasures that no man can count. That in the heart of the richest gems abound, that he who wills may open the door and find them all. And then the people said, make known to us that we may find the wealth that lies within the heart. Okay. And so we know the heart is the mind, right? So that in the heart, the richest gems abound, that he who wills may open the door and find them all. We know that we're speaking of the mind. And then the people said, make known to us that we may find the wealth that lies within the heart. We're speaking of the mind. And Jesus opened up the way. The toiler saw another side of life, and toil became joy. Okay, so their freedom came through realizing that heaven and hell is a state of mind, always. And that's one of the keys, man. I mean, like, really, everybody should remember this, especially those verses. Every Moorish American needs to know this. Okay, Allah never made a heaven for a man. He never made a hell. We are creators and we make our own. So we don't subscribe to fairy tales, and nobody can tell us that you're going to burn in hell and you're going to be in the heaven with the, 90 virgins, none of that stuff, right? We're not going for that. Okay. Allah never made a heaven for man. We know that's true. Never made a hell. We're creators. We make our own. This is right in attunement with all of the ancient teachings. All is mine. Okay. All right. So just remember this. And Jesus said, my brother, man, your thoughts are wrong. Your heaven is not far away, and it is not a place of metes and bounds. It is not a country to be reached. It is a what? A state of mind. Allah never made a heaven for a man. He never made a hell. We are creators and we make our own. Remember that. This is always key. It can always get you out of whatever jam, whatever we may find ourselves in, remembering that we created and we have the key to get out. We don't have to look without. We don't have to look. You don't have to look at the grand sheik or a priest or anyone. You have it always, right? And by knowing that you have the key and the power, this is how you can achieve whatever it is or get out of whatever trouble you find yourself in. Okay? Islam? Islam. Okay, we got another question.
With that being said, we we want all the members, all of our brothers and sisters who study with us, who's a part of Mission 30 in Columbus, to always choose happiness. Always choose the path of I am the creator and I'm going to live my best life, no matter what it looks like. I don't care if, you catch yourself in a very bad situation, you flip that situation as fast as you realize that you're in this predicament and watch how Allah works in your favor. Islam, we've done it numerous times in our lifetime, so we know it works. We know the power of the mind, and it just keeps getting better. Islam.
Islam, remember, behold, thy Lord said to the angels, I will create a vice regent, a viceroy on earth. He's talking about you, So if this is you, there's no excuses. You can always, fix whatever situation you're in, whatever, by going within. It's always on us, we have the power. Okay. So this is taking away, any weak thoughts that would be put in it outside of yourself. All right. And we're definitely, not with like a poverty mindset or any of these things, because all of these things would be holding us down. Moors are rich. All right. Period. Point blank. And we have the keys. I mean, how many people are getting these types of lessons, and especially like within a religious construct, of getting the keys of knowing, that Allah is within you, that you create heaven or hell for yourself. Okay, so we have the keys, and there's nothing that can hold us back. Islam. So that's all I wanted to say about that lesson. If anybody has any questions or anything about that, feel free to speak up now. Okay. All right. So Islam, if nobody has anything to say, I'm gonna go ahead and read to be proclaimed at every meeting. Islam, I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so that they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds, the ones that pay their divine respect to me and the movement, will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And Prophet warns all Muslims to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the prophet or the temple or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where the prophet found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet is therefore sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in promoting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace, Noble Drew Ali. And this is to the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam. This is the instruction from your prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is on now, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near. All right? And that's what the circle 7 is. That's the 7 seals from Revelation. The end of time is drawing near. So says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Drew Ali. And that is why many hearts have turned to stone, and many have eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear, lest they will be confounded of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace. Your divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. All right. Okay, and see, right. If anybody has anything to say or anything, any questions or anything, go ahead and speak now. All right. So I wanted to announce then, without further ado, we're going to go into the closing of the meeting. All right. If you can, please rise, face the east. Do not repeat after me. Feet at a 45-degree angle. 2 on the right, 5 on the left. Allah, bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers' divine creed and principles. We ask this in thy holy name and the 7 Elohim. Amen. All right, Islam, Moors, Islam, happy holy day. Thank you for coming in. We're doing chapter 13 on Sunday at 7. Just want to thank you, Moors. If you don't have any questions, that's it. Islam, peace and love. All right.
Islam, peace and love, y'all.
All right, peace and love.
Peace. Wow,